Hello, my name is Grant Imahara, and it is 11:03 on Thursday, April 1st.
Have you ever wondered what drives someone to create, even when time is running out? For Grant Imahara, it was love. Love for science, for storytelling, and for making the world a better place. But as he built his final masterpiece, a silent threat was counting down to a moment that would change everything. This is the story of a man who lived to inspire, and how his light still shines. In the heart of Hollywood's special effects world, one man stood out, not just for his genius, but for his heart. Grant Imahara was more than an engineer. He was a dreamer who brought fantasies to life. But behind the scenes, a silent threat was growing, one that would change everything. To understand the man behind the legend, we need to start at the beginning. Grant Masaru Imahara was born on October 23, 1970, in Los Angeles, California. Raised by his mother Carolyn in a modest two-bedroom apartment, his early years were shaped by her relentless dedication. Carolyn worked 12-hour days at an accounting firm and studied business at night, sacrificing a better job in San Francisco to ensure Grant had access to LA's top schools. Their dining room became a sanctuary of learning, where she spent hours each evening fueling his curiosity with science kits instead of toys. By age 5, Grant was dismantling household appliances, his mind a whirlwind of wires and circuits. One day, he took apart the family's new microwave and uncovered a flaw so serious it triggered a recall of 1,200 units. Even in kindergarten, he was rewriting the rules. But genius came with risks. At 6, while tinkering with a radio, Grant suffered a severe electric shock that could have ended everything. His heart raced, but he kept it from his mother, terrified she'd take away his tools. That determination to keep creating would define him, but it was just the start of a journey that would change everything. On May 28, 1977, a 7-year-old Grant sat in a darkened theater, eyes glued to Star Wars. For 2 hours he was spellbound, and when the credits rolled, he spoke only in R2-D2's beeps, refusing English for weeks. That summer, he skipped 17 days of school, not to play, but to scavenge dumpsters for parts to build his own droid. By August, he'd collected over 600 pieces, sketching designs and studying college-level manuals under his blanket by flashlight. His obsession didn't stop there. He rewired his school's PA system to blare the Star Wars theme, making it sound crisper than ever. The school suspended him, but could anyone really dim his spark? By 1984, Grant entered Crestview Prep on a full scholarship, his intellect outpacing his peers. At 14, he corrected a physics teacher in class, leaving jaws on the floor. His projects were so advanced that science fair judges banned him, convinced they were too good to be true. In 1986, he built Murphy, a robot that roamed the school autonomously, crafted from old game consoles and a Commodore 64. This was years before such tech was mainstream. But the grind took its toll. Soldering burns scarred his hands, and early carpal tunnel crept in. He'd hide in a science closet during PE, building robots while a sympathetic teacher looked the other way. What drove him to push so hard? At the University of Southern California in the late 1980s, Grant set out to become an electrical engineer. But by 1992, the relentless coursework left him burned out, and he toyed with switching to screenwriting, drawn to storytelling's magic. He visited USC's film school, weighing a drastic change. Then, fate introduced him to Tomlinson Holman, the genius behind the THX sound system. Inspired, Grant volunteered as Holman's unpaid assistant, sorting through stacks of technical papers from groups like SMPTE and IEE. That humble start reignited his love for engineering, landing him an internship at THX that became a full-time role after his 1993 graduation. At THX, Grant tested audio equipment with meticulous precision, ensuring every speaker met the company's exacting standards. Occasionally, he slipped into a C-3PO suit for promotional events, a nod to his Star Wars roots. In 1996, he made a bold leap to Industrial Light and Magic's model shop, where his engineering prowess set him apart. Over 9 years, he worked on blockbusters like Star Wars, Episodes 1 through 3, the Matrix sequels, and The Lost World, Jurassic Park, designing circuits that made props glow and move. He also redesigned animatronics for the Energizer Bunny campaign, showcasing his versatility. Grant's journey with R2-D2 began quietly at Skywalker Ranch, upgrading aging droids in the Lucasfilm archives. His expertise earned him a rare honor, becoming one of only 3 people in the U.S. authorized to operate R2-D2 for live events and commercials, alongside Don Byes and Nelson Hall. During the Phantom Menace's production in 1999, he led a rebuild of the droid, swapping out faulty wheels for smoother ones and adding a motor from an electric wheelchair. For Attack of the Clones, he upgraded all 12 R2-D2 units, replacing clunky halogen lights with custom LEDs, making them more reliable than ever. His innovations didn't just fix problems, they brought a beloved character to life in new ways. But in July 2020, during a dinner with his fiancée, Jennifer Newman, a costume designer he'd been with since 2011, Grant felt a sudden wave of dizziness. It was a fleeting moment, but it hinted at a battle that would soon unfold. In the heart of Hollywood's dream factory, where imagination meets precision, Grant Imahara was a quiet genius, turning the impossible into reality. His work on Star Wars, Episode I, The Phantom Menace wasn't just a job, it was a love letter to the droid that sparked his childhood dreams. The original R2-D2 units were finicky, stumbling on uneven sets and faltering under pressure. Grant, with his engineer's mind, saw solutions where others saw problems. He swapped out their tiny wheels for sturdier ones and wired in a motor from an electric wheelchair, giving R2 new life. By Attack of the Clones, he was overseeing all 12 R2 units, replacing their clunky halogen lights with custom LEDs powered by a microcontroller he'd crafted for Galaxy Quest. These upgrades made the droids more reliable, their dome lights twinkling with a realism that captivated audiences. But what made Lucasfilm trust him with their most iconic character? His precision and passion earned him a rare honor. One of only 3 people in the U.S. authorized to operate R2-D2 for live events, alongside Don Byes and Nelson Hall. Grant's brilliance didn't stop at Star Wars. In 1999, just 3 years after joining Industrial Light and Magic, he was named Chief Model Maker for Galaxy Quest. There, he designed light systems for the NEA Protector spaceship, using circuit boards to create shimmering effects that brought the sci-fi comedy to life. His ability to fuse engineering with storytelling set him apart in a world of artists and mechanics. Yet it was on MythBusters where Grant became a star in his own right. Joining the show in 2005, he brought a level of expertise that transformed the build team. Adam Savage once said, "Grant was the only one of us with a degree in what we were doing," and it showed. Over 9 years and more than 200 episodes, Grant's technical prowess bridged Carrie Byron's artistry and Tori Bellasi's hands-on builds, forming a trio that hooked millions. But could he handle the chaos of the show's wild experiments? Not every moment was glamorous. In a 2009 episode inspired by Shrek, the team tested whether earwax could double as candle wax. Grant was tasked with melting a jar of wax collected from hundreds of patients. As it heated, a nauseating stench hit the set, an infected sample that overwhelmed everyone. Grant, gagging, had to step away, later calling it the most revolting thing he'd ever done. Yet his commitment never wavered, even in the face of such bizarre challenges. His time on MythBusters wasn't just about science. It was about heart, grit, and a knack for making the impossible work. Grant's creativity spilled beyond the screen. In 2000, he and ILM friends like Adam Savage built personal R2-D2 replicas, crafting every piece from scratch out of respect for the Star Wars legacy. He also designed quick-swap battery packs for R2 during Attack of the Clones, slashing downtime on set. Outside of films, he competed in BattleBots with his robot Deadblow, winning 10 of 17 matches and inspiring a book, Kickin' Bot, in 2003. In 2008, he reimagined the Energizer Bunny, building animatronics with 8-bit chips and radio controls that let the mascot drum and wave with precision. Each bunny ran on 44AA batteries, a playful nod to the brand's slogan. But what drove Grant to pour so much into every project? His versatility shone in later years. In 2010, he crafted an animatronic skeleton for The Late Late Show with Craig Ferguson, delighting audiences. After leaving MythBusters in 2014, he worked with Disney on Stickman, a robot that paved the way for the Stuntronics performers now flipping through Disney parks. Most poignantly, in March 2020, Grant built a lifelike Baby Yoda animatronic, not for fame, but to bring smiles to children in hospitals. This selfless act captured his essence, a man who used his gifts to uplift others. As we look back, Grant's story is one of brilliance and heart, a legacy that begs the question, what more could he have achieved? As the curtain began to fall on Grant Imahara's remarkable life, his spirit shone with an intensity that no darkness could dim. On a quiet evening in July 2020, he sat with his fiancée, Jennifer Newman, sharing a meal in their Los Angeles home. Suddenly, a wave of dizziness swept over him, followed by searing pain. By 9 p.m., Grant was unresponsive, his vibrant energy fading. Jennifer's desperate call to 911 brought paramedics racing to the scene, but the truth was grim. At the hospital, doctors uncovered a brain aneurysm, a hidden threat that had silently grown, now erupting into a crisis. What could have caused such a sudden turn in a man so full of life? The medical team battled tirelessly, rushing Grant into surgery. The first procedure offered a sliver of hope, but he remained locked in unconsciousness. A second operation followed, yet the damage deepened. By July 13, 2020, a third surgery revealed a heartbreaking reality. The harm was too vast to overcome. With heavy hearts, his family chose to let him go. At just 49, Grant Imahara slipped away, leaving a world that felt dimmer without his spark. The news rippled across the globe, stunning fans, scientists, and stars alike. Adam Savage, his MythBusters brother, shared his grief, calling Grant a gentle, brilliant soul. But how could someone so vital be gone so soon? Even in his final months, Grant's heart was crafting wonders. In March 2020, he unveiled a lifelike Baby Yoda animatronic, a labor of love built over 3 months. Every detail, the blinking eyes, the tilting ears, was handcrafted, with motors fine-tuned to mimic the Mandalorian star. He collaborated with prop maker Lauren Markland, who painstakingly added each hair to its silicone skin. This wasn't for fame or profit. It was for children in hospitals to bring light to their darkest days. "I build happiness," Grant once said, and this project was his final gift to the world. What drove him to create such joy, even as time was running out? Grant's Japanese-American heritage was the bedrock of his identity. Born on October 23, 1970 in Los Angeles, he carried the name Masaru, meaning victory, a tribute to his resilience. Raised by his mother Carolyn in a modest apartment, he learned discipline and care, values that infused every circuit he wired. As a Japanese-American, Grant broke barriers on MythBusters, showing that diversity could thrive in science and entertainment. From 2005 to 2014, he inspired countless young minds, especially in underrepresented communities, to chase dreams in engineering. His work on Star Wars and Jurassic Park wasn't just technical, it was a cultural triumph, proving that anyone could shape the future. Grant's MythBusters chapter closed in 2014, a painful exit driven by budget cuts and contract disputes. He, Carrie Byron, and Tori Belleci refused to accept reduced roles, walking away from a show that defined them. Fans mourned and ratings tanked, leading to the series' end 2 seasons later. Adam Savage later called it a mistake, a sentiment echoed by viewers who missed the trio's magic. But Grant didn't falter. In 2016, he reunited with Carrie and Tori for White Rabbit Project on Netflix, diving into wild experiments with jailbreaks and superpowers. Though canceled after 1 season due to soaring costs, it showcased Grant's unwavering passion for science. Why did he keep pushing forward, even after setbacks? In 2017, Grant hinted at a secret Disney project, sparking curiosity. By 2018, the world met Stickman, a robot that flipped through the air like a stunt performer. Grant's expertise helped evolve it into Stuntronics, now dazzling audiences at Disney parks. This wasn't just engineering, it was magic, blending his love for robotics with storytelling. His financial life, though private, reflected his practical genius. With an estimated net worth of $2 million earned through MythBusters and Lucasfilm, Grant lived modestly, driving a reliable Honda Civic and favoring functional watches over luxury brands. He owned a cozy Los Angeles home, shared with Jennifer, and had no private jets or lavish estates. His investments went to projects like the Baby Yoda animatronic and mentoring robotics teams, ensuring his wealth-fueled impact. Jennifer shared her heartbreak, calling Grant her soulmate. His story, from a curious child to a global inspiration, teaches us that true greatness lies in what we give. What will we create to honor such a legacy? As we close the book on Grant Imahara's extraordinary journey, it's hard not to feel a mix of awe and heartache. From a curious kid in Los Angeles, taking apart microwaves with a spark in his eyes, to a Hollywood innovator who brought R2-D2 to life, Grant was more than an engineer. He was a dreamer who built happiness. His work on Star Wars, MythBusters, and that unforgettable Baby Yoda animatronic wasn't just about circuits and motors. It was about inspiring us to see the world with wonder. He faced challenges, from budget cuts that ended his MythBusters run to a hidden health crisis that stole him away too soon at 49. Yet, even in his final months, Grant poured his heart into creating joy for kids in hospitals, proving that his legacy was never about fame, but about impact. His Japanese-American roots shaped his quiet strength, breaking barriers and showing a generation that they could be scientists, creators, and stars. The Grant Imahara STEAM Foundation, launched in 2020, carries his mission forward, empowering young minds to dream big, just as he did. His story reminds us that true success isn't measured in dollars or accolades. It's in the lives you touch, the smiles you spark, and the ideas you set free. What struck you most about Grant's journey? Maybe it's the way he turned a childhood obsession with Star Wars into a career that changed Hollywood, or how he never stopped giving back, even when time was slipping away. Drop your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear what moved you. And if this story resonated with you, give it a thumbs up to help share Grant's legacy with more people. Stick around by hitting that subscribe button and ringing the bell, because we've got more incredible stories coming your way. Next up, we're diving into the life of another visionary who redefined their craft, someone whose secrets and triumphs will leave you speechless.